I mean, I was doing TMS, wasn't I? TMS ice, baby. We're already 10th in the UK. Probably shouldn't take long to get to first. Well, 47k is actually a decent score. But yeah, alright. Coming into a bit more life for me than I had yesterday, that's for sure. Rocky and rolly. This is pretty bad. Yeah. 0.3 off. Closer, still bad though. Closer, closer. It's all about that start and not losing speed. So you kind of want it at an angle, but not too much. And going fast forward is pretty good. Ah, couldn't get the drift on. My own damn fault. Super slow. Alright, so we go fast forward, steady to the right. Oh god, what am I doing? Right, let's go for full whack, shall we? Just not carrying enough speed. You've got to find a happy medium right between getting tons of speed and not. Okay, PB. We take them. Alright, okay. He's definitely finding that sweet spot. I had the speed but just couldn't catch up. Okay, I think what I should aim for is left, right, wide and in. Which seems really cacky, but yeah, you can way easily get the speed that way. Not that run though, Christ. Left, right, wide and in. Miles behind. Maybe not. Ah, tyres haven't defrosted. Oh, close. Bit more of a right angle. Yep, PB. What is Alpha? 10.085. Well, we're definitely sniffing the Alpha time. Oh, if only I was a bit tighter in. That would have been PB. too tight. Was catching. So the end definitely has improvement. Even if I followed my ghost to the absolute letter, there is room to grow. That one obviously was next, so I didn't get a good enough angle, but the point still stands. Way too wide then. You want to keep the speed but come in that tight, then you've got a gold level run. Yeah, no drift. Aye. That's probably going to be a bit too close, or not. It screwed up the end. But noted, you can cut that in very close. Very tight even, that's the word I'm looking for. Screwed up the ending again. Lost speed there. Alright. That was a good run. Bad drift. I was ahead though. That was absolutely ahead. That's not. As much forward momentum as possible. Get it on the right corner, that was bad. And again, that was too. It was an alright start, but terrible. Because you've got to keep so much more speed. Oh, way too tight. Going straight off the edge of the map. Nah, good bro. Oh, why no drift? Because I tried to turn too quickly. Straight into the wall. Straight into the wall. No. Gather speed. Rotate right. I think I need to hit that from far left. Far right even. Like here. Whoa. Not quite. Just too bad. Oh, I shouldn't have turned. I lost speed. Oh dear. Again, turned too much, lost speed. Nightmare. Too low speed. Just didn't get the drift on. It was easy PB. Just thrown in the bin. I was quicker. Once again, I'm quicker, but I'm so far behind it don't matter. There absolutely is room for improvement right there. Oh. Well, obviously there's room for improvement. There's half a second if you get it right. Oh, come on, man. Ugh. Oh, really? Really? Oh, just doing horrendous, man. Get it together. That was not getting it together. Lost so much time because of the speed drop there. Don't steer from the start, you spoon. Oh, great. Slightly too tight on the lining. And was that stick drift that just pulled me left? Of course it was. Yay. Too close, yeah. Now right angle it. There we go. Alright, look. We'll take it for now. It's a good old improvement anyway. This is a relatively straightforward one. I definitely can improve. Oh, this is maximising speed here and not screwing up the start like that. Just put a ghost down even if it's trash. To the left, to the right, and right. Ah, let it go too wide. .486. Oh, 458. Okay, close. No cigar though. That would have been it if it weren't for the bad ending. Oh well. Way too wide. I'd have to absolutely nail this beyond belief, which I'm not going to do. Yeah, that's a completely driftable section. One whole drift. We just have to get it right. Oh, why did I had no faith that he would turn back around. I thought the speed was too low for that to work. Oh, here we go. 13 flat. Lovely. Like 27 here again. We don't even have gold. What do you mean? Ah, yes, okay. I think for speed's sake we will release there. Oh my god. How about don't aim for a drift that you can't take, and just drive the bloody thing. This is so slow. Okay, still near PB even though it was super slow. Right, okay, so the no drift start is quickest. That sucked. Again, no drift start is quicker, goddammit. Oh dear. There is so much to gain right there. And that was PB too. Okay, he does that section quick. Oh, we're neck and neck. Just speed him up. Just beat him to that. Keeping this down low, quicker. Yeah. And I'm going to go with the same for this. Ugh, if you don't clip the signs. That was still pretty slow, but half a second ahead. Ugh, that was awful. It was my own fault. I didn't even aim. Just let it rip. Don't know how that got me a second ahead, but we take that for sure. Okay. Done. We've got 26 sitting out here. Can't be having that. What is this? Oh god. Okay. Just got to refine this ridiculously. Christ. Alright, well look. That's got to be PV, right? Yeah. Alpha times 13, 2. Understandable. I'll give it another go or two. I'm not a fan of this personally, but you know. Going way too early on those. Woof. Yeah, no. Didn't line that up at all. Might have been PV, but it would have only just been PV. And I'm just going nowhere. Going nowhere fast. Arguably one of the better forms of transport, going nowhere fast, but you know, we got an aim, we got a goal. Oh, why? Why wouldn't you let me straighten back up? Whee! I mean, this was only to get them under top 20, which they all are now, so... Well, not all of them, but this one is. So whether continuing on is a bit a waste of time, really. Ugh. Oh, sod off. Right, so getting the drifts isn't hard. What is hard is switching angles during the drift. You've got to tap accelerate repeatedly. Do you know what? I think you lose that section. We'll give it a bash. Or we just take off. Damn it. What am I doing? What am I playing at? Apparently not Trackmania. If there's a game where hitting the walls is key, I'm probably on that. Good run. That can definitely be improved, but that was a good run. Still wasn't all for time. Not by much though. Okay. This is already a bad run. Oh. Wee! Just made that. Incredible. Incredible. Right, we'll start with a slow drive. Oh my god. Oh, what am I doing? Still quicker. Again, that wall. What am I doing? No idea, but it slowed me down enough to get a twist there, which was PB, even though the run was bad. Fabulous. I'll give it another crack then. Just nightmarish. Not even worth noticing. Certainly doesn't get a notice me senpai at any point. That is for sure. Senpai would take no notice. I'm sure of it. Ay. Look, I just need to get that. Oh, don't break. Stop trying to sort yourself with a brake. Keep it straight. Let's not talk about it. That was way too early. Well, bouncing off that wall isn't actually the end of the world, interestingly enough. Still didn't beat it. Come closer. Tighter line. Lovely. Still not a perfect run, but it puts us right up there. And on the edge of all time too, which is great news. Oh look, we'll be cracking into top 5 in no time. Ah yes, this merry hell. He beat it. That ice touch, that snow touch though slowed me down so much. Bloody stick drift always making me save replays. I've got to fix that. Well, I've got to delete the saved replays for sure. BB. He got off the start wall way quicker. I was carrying more speed until that point though. Too tight. Wonky. Yo, 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 yo. How did he overtake me there? Oh, I thought it was a nose ahead. Close. Slow. Faster. Right up until I spent the last second or two on the snow. What? Very nice wide drifting. Screw you. Just out of curiosity, what is the gap between there? Rather large. That's a no-no. So am I 1.3 seconds off? Where does that time come from? It's way wide. There was 0.2, so you can just come sideways onto that concrete and it's fine. Damn. Oh, me and that last corner ain't getting on. .3 straight out of Compton. I do. Still a second to go. Be fun to find where that is, eh? Did that wrong. Okay, that can be done better. Ah, yeah, you cut straight over. The angle was pretty bad there, that's fine, I accept that as a failure. Okay. Oh, I left it too late. Left it way too late. Oh, that's fine threading situation. But luckily for me, I love threading them needles. Screwed that up. Improvement. Better than nothing. Alright. Real question is, what now? Do we continue? No, I'm sure there's another one over 20 in there. 22 and a 20, yeah. Let's bump these up. Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are something. Oh, okay. I forgot how this course goes completely then. And just driving into walls, amazing, amazing. Great way to showcase your skill at the game. Oh, that changing grip. Ah, you're joking. Bugger it, Millennium Hand and Shrimp. Alright, if you do that in one shot, you come out with so much speed. I think quick release. Whoa. Oh, changing grip again got me. Okay, we did that-ish. Oh, and the ending's here, fine. Wow. Yeah, okay, I'd like to improve that again, please. Thank you very much. Ah. Honest to God, that changing grip gets me so many times. Way too wide. Should have brake tapped to bring it in further. What am I doing? Just throwing away run after run. How about you? Are you for real? Just stabbed a hole in my tyre and cut off the grip. Cheers, game. Really appreciate that. It's great work. Oh my god. To get a counter for the amount of time switching surfaces kills me. It's got to be my highest killer. I was expecting loss of grip there. Lost a bunch of time on the ending. If you don't mind, we're going to claim that time quick. Here we go. No. Grip just fell off. Just gone. Well, considering how bad that was and we're this close, I'm not giving up yet. I am now. Oh. Starting to fail the easy runs now, Christ alive. Oh, really? That was so close to failure. That was failure, oh my god. I can do way over a second better. Just one more PB and we'll move along. Nothing to see here. Style of frog. That was god awful. Not that it matters because we're still ahead. And I had to release, I had no choice. It's either that or the wall. Way too wide, man. It's the last one that's wide, it's the first ones that are tight. I've done it again. Held it together though. Wider. Okay, wow. That saved him a whole second. That'll do. Said one more PV, so screw it. We take that. Last 20. Clonk. Oh, way too little. Right, how about if we go wide? Because I'm thinking this whole corner is one drift. I'm pretty sure it is. That would save a hell of a lot of time if it is. No. Wide is key. It's still not PB, but it's on the cusp. Where did they gain another 1.5, I wonder? Callista. Oh, not quite in the EU. Definitely one of the best in the UK, I'm pretty sure. After all that time I spent getting #1. How are you, Callista? How'd your party go? Hope everything's well. Ah, not bad. Glad to hear it. Damn. Damn. Yeah, I mean, speaking on a tectonic plate scale, we are the EU. In every other sense, we are EU. No, I personally am not a fan of the fact that I'm losing my EU brothers and sisters because a bunch of old white dudes thought it was a good idea. I am white as well, but you know, I'm not quite old enough to be an old white dude. So I should get a little bit of leeway for that. Ah, Christ. Look, it's probably not PC to say it, but you know it's true. I know it's true. We all know it's true. Ah, way too far behind. Yeah. Look, it was basically split along age lines, right? So everyone over like 50 basically voted to leave. Everyone under the age of like 30 voted to stay. Because most of us under the age of 30 have got friends from every corner of the EU. You bugger. Goddamn well. I got you this time. Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately not. They were too busy spending their ill-gotten gains. Do you know, I'm just going to check age versus who voted to leave, because I'm sure it was a massive difference. Okay. Yeah, 71% of under 25s voted to remain, and nearly 70% of 65 plus and 50. Yeah, so basically everyone over the age of 50 voted to leave. Fun and games. Failings of democracy. Hey, what can you do? You got to live with it. Either that or create your own country. But to do that, I think I'd have to overtake a country, and people don't tend to like that. This is already a bad run, I can feel it in my socks. Previous me did a great lap. Jesus, I'm so far behind. PB. Ah, that would have been PB. Oh, I really need to learn how to do them 360s to go the other way. 360s, 180s, whatever. Some sort of degree between 0 and 360. Ah. Coming in hot. Oops. Ah, lost grip. Okay. Get a decent start out the gate. That was a bad turn on the end though. That was PB sort of territory though. Shame, shame. Ah. Just, I don't know what I'm doing on that one. Not a clue. So far out, that was a joke. Let's pretend that that corner cut didn't happen. Oh my god. And he does it again. Rotate for Christ's sake. Way too late. Nah. Just so wide. Let go, let go, let go, let go. Nope. 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 Bin it. Burn it. Start again. Same way I feel about democracy. We obviously made mistakes in the foundation, I'm sure. Not that democracy is a bad thing, just the way we do it is. So the key point to this whole race is getting this corner incredibly tight so you can flip round way earlier. Yak, 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 yak. Oh, done it again. That's the kind of run I want though. Just straight down the middle. Oh, this is going to aggravate me. Okay, whatever. Yes, because it's democracy has the issue of it's behind the times. Right, so people won't vote for young people in parliament or positions of power because they're young, they're reckless. Right, that leaves people who are not in touch with the times, the old generation, who will be voted in because they're seen as level-headed, as cool or whatever, even though they're no better than teenagers, if I'm honest with you. But like, if you had updated democracy to the point where voting from your phone was an option, you'd have the highest turnout rates among the younger generation. But like, yeah, it's just one of the core failings. You can't have a representative democracy because of the very fact that it doesn't represent anyone really. It just represents a group of people that are on average viewed as reliable, even though statistically speaking they're not. You can always trust a dishonest man to be dishonest, but you can't always trust an honest man to be honest. Like in Brazil, I can't remember who it was, but one of the presidents ran with a campaign, I'm not as bad as the other guy, which is incredible to think of, but it does represent the point. You're just kind of hoping your guy isn't as bad as the other one, which is a horrible thing in democracy, because you should be voting on the good parts, not the hopefully not as bad parts. What was it? Henry Ford said if I'd asked for a committee to design a car, they'd give me a camel. Or they would have given me 2 horses instead of 1, or something like that, he said. I think I've absolutely misquoted it, but the point stands. One person alone, usually a nice, good, decent human being, but as a group, what bastards. Damn. I thought I might have pulled that one out from underneath me. Not quite though. That was rough. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't. Like, I should never be voted into a position of power because I would use it to try and do good, which isn't always the end result. The road to the path to hell is paved with good intentions and all that. Right, I'll be back in just a sec, because I need to grab a drink. Alright, the driver of the struggle bus has returned. Although I don't drive it, I'm mainly a passenger. Oh, what's this? Bullying, apparently, that was. Meryl Streep was a school teacher and father that the economy will win the election because he shares genes with a dickhead. Yeah. That is exactly it. The amount of unintended nepotism in democracy is out of this world. It's like if one of Winston Churchill's descendants ran for Prime Minister, we'd all probably be like, yeah, sure. Sign him up. As if he's anything like his great-grandfather or whatever he would be by now. And Winston Churchill wasn't even a good Prime Minister. Good war leader, not a good Prime Minister. One of the reasons he had to step down was he wanted to invade Russia. Just at the end of World War II. And everyone was a bit like, yeah, no, that's a bit much. We just fought a 6-year-long war whereupon millions upon millions of people died. And you want to go invade Russia. It was Operation Barbarossa, I think it was called. God, crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. Alright. Let's get back into it. $16, we've got to lower that. Okay, that's probably not necessary. Oh, I remember this. That horrible corner. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, bad. Oh my god. I've really got to work out what the trick is on this one for sure. Because, like, going off the edge there ain't beneficial. But I actually think cutting that like that is probably very quick. Oh god, such a bad ending. But 0.6 off, that's closer. Yeah. Democracy is a bit like communism. In theory, it's fabulous. In reality, you got to contend with a lot of idiots. That would be kind of the dream, but I counter it with this argument, right? Imagine this. You're the average person, okay? Completely average in every respect. Obviously, it's not true, I'm sure, but you're completely average in every respect. That means 50% of the population is dumber than you are. The other 50% is smarter. Right, so it really does leave quite a worrying ability for those who are only just a little bit smarter to side with those who are dumber because their voices are louder. but I would absolutely love there to be a minimum percentage of people that have to agree or sign to a law for it to become into law, and the same with repealing laws, because there are laws that stand that are they're beyond comprehension really to the modern world. It's a bit like marijuana being illegal in the UK. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year illegal business, funded by criminals and run by criminals. But by legalising it, taxing it, and making it a commodity to which can fund things like healthcare and schooling is so much more valuable than just keeping it illegal, because keeping it illegal does nothing but continue the cycle. It keeps crime up, it keeps, people in prison that don't need to be in prison. It costs money to enforce. You're wasting police time enforcing it because it won't stop. Because if a society really wants something, they will get it regardless of the means, the methods, and the cost. I mean, Portugal has the right idea. They decriminalise drug possession. Yes, absolutely. George Carlin, quite a smart man. Quite a smart man indeed. There we go. Oh, stick drift caused me to click on something I didn't want to. But yeah, if you could, I personally would legalise all illegal narcotics, place them for sale, but at the hands of the NHS, with what we'd call hard drug taking sites scattered across the country, where it's possible for people addicted to very hard drugs to go in and take their drugs safely and know that they're clean, and even be offered, help to escape the cycle, rather than just punishing them, criminalising them, and continuing the cycle of crime. It's just such a waste of money in my eyes. Yeah, absolutely. In Portugal, especially, I think it went from something like only 5% of people were leaving hard drugs to something like 60% of people were coming off hard drugs due to the fact that they were available safe and freely and without judgment. And I mean, at the end of the day, you've really got to consider who benefits from keeping not necessarily the drug trade, but all the problems that comes with the drug trade running. As a copper would say, follow the cash. Luckily, we're not like the States, because the States have such a horrid problem with opioid drugs. It kind of blows my mind. And the fact that their drug production companies profit from the active addiction to opioids is insane. Oh, damn it, almost got that right. So I saw Purdue Farm was looking at a couple of $1 billion of fines for what they're doing, but that's nothing in comparison to the amount of money they make from opioid addiction. Hey, PB. Not by a lot though, by the looks of it. Damn, Will's clipped. But again, this comes down to democracy because it's done on people's feelings rather than facts and figures. Because if you looked at just the facts and figures, you know, you can see that it's simply legalising it, managing it correctly, all that sort of stuff is the way forward. But if you do it based on people's feelings, you get nowhere. It's a bit like when someone says, I'm offended. Like, okay, you're offended. Do you not know how to deal with that as an adult? Like, do you expect me to stop talking about this conversation because you find it uncomfortable? And if you're really offended by like things like drug use, you know, well, do something about it. Help those people get off the drugs. And then we won't have to talk about it. I had more speed, but terrible angle. Damn. My general reaction to anyone that tells me they're offended is I say I'm offended by them being offended. Trying to find that middle point on this map is an absolute nightmare. Yeah, that's certainly not it. That was getting the speed, but it's way too far behind. Oh. That's an interesting question. So, yes and no, and again, the subjectivity doesn't exist in the law exactly. Grossly offensive usually dictates to certain things, i.e., you know, putting on a show about cutting people in front of children. There really is, it's subjective in a sentence, but not in the law. That's the only way I can really word that. Like there will be anyway. Not that I've read it, but there would be a absolutely massive list underneath it of exactly what it pertains to, because we're a bit obsessive like that in Britain. Just can't get this one. Just ain't sure of how to do it. Too much speed, you know what, let's go wide. Caught up by half a second, but that went right. That certainly. Oh no, you're talking of Count Dankula. there was much more to it than that from memory. And again, that's the issue. It's I'm trying to remember more about it, but I can't for the life of me. It's been a while since I read anything on it. But again, it's just hard to answer the question without knowing more. But like, I'm sure there was a bit more to it than just the fact it was a Nazi salute, because we have no laws against that. This is going to be a pain. Oh, what do you mean? So close. Because I am a free speech advocate, full stop. I don't care what it is you're saying, because words only have the power that you prescribe to them. They don't have any value or meaning outside of what you give them. Damn. So I'm all for free speech. I'm all for saying whatever you like. But at the same time, if you get a smack for it, it's your own problem. Not that the law works that way in this country, but that's my personal view. Not that you should go around smacking each other, I don't agree with that, but there is a bit to be said about taking responsibility for your actions and words. Look, there is a fine line between telling a joke and being racist, for want of a better word. I do honestly believe that you can say whatever you like. That's my personal opinion, but it's the law is always based around what the average person would think, and as we discussed earlier, the average person tends to be a fucking idiot. This is never gonna do it. No. That was bad. Oh, what if? Maybe not that. Yeah, no, that's not good. Cock it. Do you know, I don't know the trick to this one, and I don't want to figure it out right now. I'd rather have something I can relax and play. But yeah, there is just such an issue with people understanding A, the concept of free speech, and B, the fact that you are responsible for it regardless of the fact that you can speak freely. I'm all for what you would call personal responsibility for your liberty, which is a strange thing to say, but I would rather spend a minute on my feet than a lifetime living on my knees for someone. And in that respect, I value my freedom and I value everyone else's freedom for that reason. But if you're not willing to see, we have some rules about that, especially in advertising. You can't lie in advertising. Doesn't mean they don't really push the limits. And yes, it is on both sides. Everyone plays with a propaganda machine and no one takes care of it, which is why you end up with anti-vaxxers and stuff like that. Ah, that was a good run. It's an absolutely kind of, oh goddamn, kind of ridiculous state of affairs to have, because it's not really a problem if you deal with it, but because no one deals with it, it's such a problem. Like, do you not think it'd be useful to teach children in schools that don't believe what you read on the internet, don't believe everything you see and only half of what you hear, sort of thing, you know? Ah, damn it. Carry on. I do not know Lindy Beige. I suppose I should, as someone who's interested in doing this for a living, I should probably get on get up to date with everyone who's big in the game. But then again, why would I want to? Oh, that was good. Yeah, okay, that's a bad route. No grip. Damn that wall. Again. Alright, up the hill, smooth. Slow though. Yeah, super slow. Okay, we didn't have enough speed coming off the hill there. Bit slow again. Still PB'd. There we go. Top 10. I'm gonna assume it's taken you a very long time to explain this video to me, because I am interested. Not sure where I'm going here. This way. This way. That can definitely. Okay, straight off. Too wide. Politics, immigration, but meanwhile numbers are thrown out so people should. Yeah, see, immigration is a bit of a joke because immigration and emigration, that's the right word, people leaving and going to countries has been going on since the dawn of time. It's all based on which country's rolling in the most dough. Because, like, if you're trained in, say, I don't know, let's pick Iran. If you're trained as a doctor in Iran and the wages are crap, and you look over at, say, Canada, and you see the wages for doctors are incredible, you're going to leave. And this was true hundreds of years ago, let alone now. And the concept of even having nation states is quite the joke, because once again, you're letting a bunch of old white guys dictate your country's size and where its borders lie because of history. And to be fair, if you look at like the Middle East, it's the UK's fault for carving up half of it, along with France and various other countries, but like, you know, that sort of thing enforces nationalism in those countries today, which are so destructive to those countries, and yet no one wants to deal with the issue that caused it. It's such a strange thing in my eyes, because, you know, the answer's obvious. We are one planet. What the hell do we need countries for? Lost good. But yeah, immigration is such a ridiculous thing, because if you talk about resources, well, we're an international community now. Our resources are basically shared. If someone's struggling, we tend to try and help them. So why aren't we? Oh, that was a bit of a concentration moment. So why aren't we helping them in a way that's much better and more useful? Ah, crap, that was such a good run. Got distracted by my own talk. But there are plenty more practical and useful ways to do it. Like, I mean, you really want to stop immigration to your country? Well, help the countries that are immigrating to yours. Like, if you're worried about immigration, fund those countries, help them grow. Because once they grow, they're going to stop coming, trust me. Still not top 10, you say? Still 1.5 seconds for top 10. Well, there's an entire second right there. Wide. Cost me all my speed. But when people talk about, I don't know, countries being full, you're having a joke, really. Because, like, the United States as a country could easily fit the world's population. You know, you can't overfill that. Oh, I lost all grip. Because even if you say, let's say, as a thought experiment, we shift everyone on the planet into the United States, right? So what they panic about is lack of resources. Well, now we have the rest of the world's landmass as a resource, whether it's farming, whether it's producing electronics or whatever, so we have to diversify the population still. So people will have to be sent to these countries, locations, reducing the amount in the United States. This will continue for every single corner of production that we manage, because what can't be built and made in the States will be built and made elsewhere. So already you're decreasing the amount of people in the States. You know, there is no such thing as overfilling a country because people leave. Immigration is just a fancy word for saying job chasing. It is not. It's not someone just turning up and being like, hey, I want your stuff. That's not how it works. Not how it works for anyone, no matter where you're from. And it's such a nonsense idea to think that people are turning up to steal your resources when you're not the one who owns your country's resources. Your government or your corporations do. Not these immigrants that are, as South Park does, they took our jobs. 9 times out of 10, they're doing jobs you don't want to do. So, you know, pull the other one, it's got bells on. Oh, they work for cheaper rates. Well, if you had better minimum wage laws, they wouldn't be able to work for cheaper rates, would they? That's not going to be enough, is it? Nah. Right on the edge, though. But even that alone is kind of simple logic. You don't have to really work hard at figuring that out for yourself. You just have to actually think of the situation rather than just accepting what you're told. Yeah, like when you think of it in actual physical terms, it's a joke. And as if your economy is going to suffer by having more people. No, that's not how the economy works. If you've got more people, you've got more jobs. If you've got more jobs, you've got a better economy. If you've got a better economy, it's good for everyone. Like, the arguments people make against immigration and emigration and all that sort of stuff, it's just nonsense. Just absolute nonsense. You have no idea of how anything works, and you want to sit here and tell me that I shouldn't allow Ahmed and his family to come stay here because of they're taking our jobs? What do you mean? Like, the UK as a whole is quite, I wouldn't say densely populated, but it's quite populated. You know, you can't really go more than a couple of miles at most without finding a house or, you know, a small village or a town or whatever. But like, even that still leaves a lot of room. There's a lot of room here, and that's not including the concept of, I don't know, building many-story flat blocks instead of building singular houses. And, you know, you can reduce our footprint massively. But yeah, the concept that immigration or emigration does something horrible is such a joke, it's beyond belief. Okay. This is looking pretty good. At least you're getting in the top 10. That's bad. Rescued it though. Damn, almost lost it. Yeah, like, America is so empty. For what it has and stuff, you know, it's so empty. And like, what would you fill it with? Even if you start, like, yeah, building, let's say you really go for it and you build towns designed for, I don't know, 100,000 people, but it's all built up and, you know, you can fit loads in. I have no idea where this is going. Okay, well, that's that one. Yeah, it's madness. The size of the states and Canada and Russia and Australia, like, you holiday in the one country because there's so much variety. Like, how can you imagine that being overcrowded when you can go and get lost in the woods, when you can go and live out in the woods for 50 years and no one will find you? You know? Like, this is a rough example, but the bloody Unabomber, he lived in a cabin in the woods and wasn't found for bloody ages. That was close to the wall. Ah, that sucked. God awful turn. Again, this is awful, but we'll chase him down. Got my eyes on him. Come back here. Yep. But like, yeah, just any argument I've ever heard against immigration and that, I haven't seen a shred of useful logic or information in it. Damn it. That's better. That's way better. This felt quite slow through there though, apparently not. PD. On a lighter note, every time I say apparently not, I imagine Ollivander from the first Harry Potter. Of course I clipped it. Apparently not. This is slow, but I do have a healthy head start. Lost a lot there. Too much, I think. Yeah. Oh, way wobbly there, but we're holding. That was very good through there. Now a nice early turn here. Not early enough. Bad ending, bad ending. Well, we can improve. But like, yeah, I don't, there's many things in this world I don't get why people do or get why people care. That sucked. But I may still be able to catch him on the ending. Maybe. Absolutely. And it was still a bad run. Alright, let's go again. Wow, second up. Woof. Second and a half. That only put me on 10. Oh, damn. Alright, we'll keep that. This is a 16 hit. Oh, look, we're already 7th. We are only 500 points away from 5th. And this is only bronze. Yuck. Don't want to see no bronze. Okay. I don't know where I'm going. Alright, stop that for a second. Oh yes, absolutely. What you're saying in terms of cultural, what would you call it? Decentralization, I suppose, is a good word. Has definitely got its merits, because individual cultures are very, very useful, very unique, and very interesting to have. But people tend to hold on to their culture very tightly. It's a bit like 100 odd years ago, towards the end of the Victorian Empire, they were worried about losing our accents, about our regional dialects. But even with the immigration, it did the opposite. The regional dialects became stronger. We held on to them much, much more. And even people who come from overseas pick up our regional dialects, which is very, very interesting. Especially when you meet when you meet someone who looks like they're from, I don't know, it's a risky thing to say anyway, but let's say the very dark skinned person looks like they're from somewhere along the Mediterranean, blah blah blah. When you hear them speak and you hear them speak with an English accent, it looks quite funny, but it's very, very endearing to know that even our accents proliferate, that people pick them up. It's fabulous. But there is definitely a little bit to be said, for sure, for cultural. Where the hell am I meant to be going? I bet you it's straight on and I'm going every way, but yeah, there's definitely something to be said for holding your cultural values and continuing. Oh yeah, it's forward, obviously, and continuing cultural. What's the word? Beliefs, superstitions. I'm not quite sure of the correct wording for that, but cultural something. Oh, come on. That's PB and that was terrible. Yes, but that alone isn't it fabulous, at least I think. You automatically shift towards it. And immigration, rather than having the effect of removing these things, helps them spread, which is a fantastic thing in itself. It's a bit like, so no idea if this ever reached your news or anything, but there was a guy who joined ISIS that was called Jihadi John. They called him Jihadi John, like the people in ISIS, because he spoke Arabic with a London accent, which just kind of shows you how inbuilt it can be and how much it can affect your, well, I hesitate to say your life because he shouldn't have chosen that life. It was a pretty bad life to choose, but the kind of point stands. Oh my god, that was fire. Yeah, we take that. Oh god, it's this one. And like that sort of level of cultural assimilation doesn't happen quickly. Like for you to pick up a regional accent, you've got to have been living there a long time, interacted with the local people a hell of a lot. Because you won't get it by staying in your own community. You won't get it by just hanging around other people that come from the same place that you do. You have to interact and be part of your local community to get that. Oh, lost all grip. Which once again shows that immigration isn't really a bad thing and that we all end up trying to be like each other. And I think that's very nice to know because it means we are all the same. We are all humans and we all think and feel the same. Oh god no, that's just depressing. My favourite food is Hungarian food. I would be utterly destroyed if that didn't exist. Like they make some of the best food I can possibly imagine. And I've not even tried like food from, I don't know, Ethiopia or Jamaican food as well, or jerk chicken, spicy rice. But like even all of that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for immigration. And like you can easily see on the face of every like, let's use the British versions because I know the names for them. But like the EDL, the English Defence League, a bunch of fucking racist twats. But even those guys, you can look at them and go, yep, I bet you they eat a kebab every Friday night after being down the pub and getting drunk. Alright, and I bet you they drive a German car. And they probably wear, you know, watches made in Japan because they're probably cheap ones. Or China, you know, their computers are probably made in China. But they want to sit there and say, no, it's English or nothing. And it's like, do you realise in the first 30 seconds of your existence every day, you are using products that were built around the world? The world would be a much duller place if we didn't have our differences, but at the same time, we don't. Celebrating our differences isn't the way forward. I feel that celebrating our similarities is the way, because our differences make us unique, but our similarities bring us together. The want for a better life for your children, the drive to improve upon your parents' lives, all of that is such a universal thing. But we don't talk about it. We don't mention it. I can imagine that does happen, but I tend to I don't tend to run into that too much, or at least I haven't noticed. They might be very good at putting on fake accents, for all I know. Damn, can't get this. But yeah, when people, I tell you what, right, we're going to get onto something really controversial that will probably get me into some form of trouble, I'm sure. But I absolutely despise the term African American. And I have to fill this in with the rest. I despise the term because it separates you. By saying you're African American, you are saying you are not American, or at least not as American as Americans. Right? The whole term is designed to separate you from everyone else. Right? Because you don't say Mexican Americans, you don't say English Americans, you don't say Canadian Americans, you don't say any of that. But you specifically say African American. It separates you from the general population, which is not how it should work at all. I think it's a terrible phrase, and I think it's something that should not be used. Right, I say not be used. I don't say it should not be said, because you can say whatever you like, but it shouldn't be used because it places a divider between what are Americans and Americans. You know, there is no difference, but you've chosen, well, you haven't chosen, the country has chosen to separate you off with the term African Americans, which is just nuts, because I would never refer to a dark-skinned person here, whatever you wish to call them, as, yeah, see, Asian American, everyone just says Asian. That's what I mean. It's such a nonsense thing. I wouldn't refer to someone as African British, they're just British. There is none of that. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's designed to separate, and by using and agreeing to it, you allow it to proliferate. You have it on government forms. You have it in everything, and you just continue along as if it's okay. I just can't. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around the logic that is cool. I say cool, but you know what I mean. It's just, why would you? Why would you want to separate yourself off? You are part of the whole collective of that society that allows it to run and work and manufacture and all that stuff. You are part of that society. You are not a separate branch thereof. Like, I can easily say my ancestors were probably not from England, right? Because up until 10,000 BC, no one lived here. At least we think. So my ancestors had to come from somewhere, right? But even then, at what point do you stop it? Because Americans saying they're American, like, at best you've got 300 years, especially if you're white. The natives have got much longer, but like 300 years you're talking about, that's no time. That's no time at all, especially in terms of where do you come from, because my family's been in the UK for I don't know how long. For as long as we have ever been able to trace it. Over 1,000 years. And I still wouldn't care less about being called a European. Why would I? I am European. I am British. I am everyone's cousin at some point. You know? Blows my mind. Yes, and that is, I hate to say it, but this is the truth. It's a leftover of the British imperial system. It's a bit like in Australia up until, like, what was it, the 60s or 70s? You know, the Aborigines were still classed as flora and fauna. You know, they weren't human beings. And that's kind of mad to think of, because that's within living memory. But it's kind of the British mantra when taking over new land is remove the original inhabitants. But that divide is only made worse by the way we act now, because we act as if the resources, as if the land, as if all of it is ours. Like, and I'm not talking ours as a collective, ours as an individual. Like, people believe that because they're born in a country, they have some sort of right to that country, when in reality, a country doesn't exist without the people. It doesn't really have any value of its own. Which is why it's baffling when people do things like that. But it happens because we assume that the resources are ours. Because, say, the native Canadians, or whatever you wish to call them, they would have used the resources for their survival. Exactly. If you try and fix any of those sorts of problems overnight, you only make them worse. It is something that has to be changed over time, and it is only something that can be changed over time. And some of the bigger issues always revolve around how do you improve it, and 9 times out of 10, they don't involve the very people that are experiencing these issues. How can a bunch of middle-aged white men understand the plight of a native man, a native woman, a native child? How can they even come close to coming up with a solution to a problem they can't understand? Oh, they do, and it's so stupid. Finally a PB on this one. But like, yeah, there's so many little things like that just blow my mind, because how can you truly believe in such a stupid thing? It's like the whole they're taking our jobs business. Like, if you can truly believe that, you'll basically believe in bloody anything, which just kind of proves how stupid you are. But again, you tell them little lies, so when you drop the big lie, they won't question it. At least that's how the propaganda machine works anyway. And in the States, you can see it especially with the words socialism and communism. Anything that is not capitalist, they automatically label those things as that, so they leave a bad taste in people's mouths, so they won't vote for them. Propaganda at work. And the worst bit is most of these people don't understand what the concept of communism or socialism is, because when you start offering them the finer details, going, what if the world was like such? And they go, yeah, that's a good idea. What if it was like such? Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, that's communist. And watch them freak out. It's like the healthcare issue. They sold it as socialised healthcare. Well, that was the issue. Yes, no, yes to that one, right? Affirmative action is kind of bad in itself, right? Not for getting people into jobs, but because it weighs the jobs in favour of those less capable, which only causes mental health issues to get worse, because you're putting people who are not, I'm not saying not able, but not as capable as someone else to control that issue. Whereas if in reality you sat down and said, hey, look, you know, we're going to subsidise native jobs rather than creating a law making their hire easier. If you subsidise those jobs, companies could take them on freely and could train them and could bring them up to spec if they're struggling or whatever. You know, there are so many better ways around that issue than going for affirmative action, because affirmative action will cause more problems in the long term. Should really be playing rather than just talking, but yes, because you don't believe you're good enough, because you believe you only got the job based on the fact you are who you are. Well, you are who your history says you are, which is so messed up. Because you could be putting someone who could be the next Stephen Hawking in such a disposition early on in their career, simply because the government says you have to. And how is that even remotely fair? Like, I'm a firm believer of equality, but I'm a believer of equality to the letter. Like, there should be no abject difference between any of us in terms of jobs, in terms of income, in terms of anything, because we are absolutely equal. Your hour's worth of labour is not worth less than my hour's worth of labour, regardless of the job you're in. Wow, he had a lot of speed coming out of there. And I wish more people thought of wages as the proportion of their life they're giving away. Because it certainly makes jobs actually sound correct. Because whether it's, say, you're working in Starbucks for $10 an hour, that's an hour of your life you're selling for $10. You know, it's not it's not you're getting paid $10 an hour, because that would be, you know, getting paid $10 an hour for doing very little. Like, say, if I ever make money off doing this, I'd probably... An hour of labour is a bit disingenuous here. Time is valued. In the States, particularly, yes. We're a lot more time sensitive. Like, every job I've ever worked, I've absolutely followed the contract to the T, because if they ever complain, they've got no legs to stand on. Results being more important? Yes, but again, how do you measure results? Because if one guy, let's say he's crap in his day-to-day work, but he comes up with the idea that makes the company 100 billion or whatever in just one day, is the rest of his year a waste? And you may say that can be tested as results driven, but what about the guy who's performing his best every day and he's not doing great? You know, sometimes, I'm going to say luck, but what I mean is the law of large numbers. Sometimes luck just isn't on your side. Oh, this is way wide. I mean, being paid proportionate to the value you benefit society by is definitely a nice idea. But the issue does become, you know, how do you measure the benefit to society? But I'd definitely argue for higher wages for teachers, higher wages for doctors, higher wages for scientists, and better funding for all three. I would argue those until my legs fell off, or my jaw, whichever came first. Because highly valued teachers equals better educated children equals better prospects later in life. Better prospects later in life equals benefits for society equals everyone wins. The same with doctors. Same with scientists. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, the state of pay in the medical sector in most of the world. The United States is a joke because having multi-millionaire doctors is not beneficial for society, but nor is poor doctors. And having doctors that can legally butcher you and you can't do anything about it is a joke. And I do mean plastic surgery in that regard in the States. I don't have a problem with that plastic surgery as a necessary treatment. I just find that it's just not good in general. Especially privatized plastic surgery is very destructive. But I would defer my plastic surgery judgment to other people simply because I've never wanted it. So I can't claim my view on it is excellent because I've never been on the opposite side of the coin. See, that's wrong. Time off is incredibly important, regardless of your job. Oh, that would have done it if I didn't go on the snow. Screw that wall in particular. It doesn't matter whether you're a builder, a miner, a plumber, a doctor, your time off should be off. You should not be working. Ah, cocked it. Yay. Finally broke into the 13. Yeah, and isn't that just the worst thing out of it all? Because anytime you look for advice from people already in the field, they're going to be saying no. And that is just incredibly sad. Let's read that. Well, I've been doing a lot of learning lately on the universe because I find it fascinating, and there are so many little. Oh yeah, for sure. But then again, it's the same as representation. Having representation from different sexes, different races, whatever, is critically important. He's going to overtake me? Yeah. What was I about to talk about? Oh yeah, that was it. So fields of study and stuff. So yeah, I've been watching a lot about like um, string theory and star collapses and the end of the universe and all that sort of stuff. And all of it, when you think about it as an individual, it kind of has no meaning on your life, I guess. But in reality, all the steps it took to get there, you're using every day in the technology you use. You're using it every day in, everything. Like quantum computing is going to be the big thing, and that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for hundreds upon hundreds of scientists over countless amount of working hours working on the issue of quantum mechanics. Like, not having that knowledge of where it came from, how it got to be, you can't appreciate it properly. And it's the same with doctors and stuff, because most people don't appreciate what it takes to become a doctor. That's a lot of training, a lot of learning, a lot of your life you have to give away before you can even go near a person to help them. And if you've joined the profession because you want to help people, well, good luck with that, because you're going to spend the next God knows how many years being told everything you've ever learned is wrong and that you need to learn more. I don't say that as a negative thing, because it does mean that healthcare gets better if that happens, but at the same time, imagine it was you and you had to constantly be refreshing your knowledge, which when you learned it was apparently 100% of it, only to find out a couple of years later it's really not. Which is why you should have such great respect for doctors, because they're constantly improving and they have to. Because if they don't, they fall behind. If they fall behind, they'll end up losing their license, or they'll end up getting less patients, or, it's just not good. Not good in many ways. So you should really respect your doctors. And you should certainly be paying them more. I think that brought us down to 6. That was pretty good. Nearly top 100 in the world. That's pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there should definitely be more done to help people going through incredibly difficult degrees and stuff, because that's so much pressure and so much work you have to put on yourself. And you're right there, even the extras. Like, you're talking, you've got to spend all that time studying, then you have to prove that you're not a complete waste of space by treating people who probably don't want to be treated in emergency rooms and stuff like that. You're going to get screamed at, shouted at, people are going to hate you because their parent died or whatever when you were caring for them over something you had no control over. And those alone, like, that just sucks from one human being to another. barely beat that, but win's a win. And it's the same with dentists, man. They have a crazy high suicide rate, which is disturbing. Like, poor guys. But if you get into suicide rates, you have to start talking of like, you know, helping not just professions, but it's gender based as well, because more men commit suicide every year, and you know, it ain't great. Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong, programming is very important. It helps so much stuff, but at the same time, man, I'd prefer, if I was in trouble, I'd prefer a doctor rather than a programmer. Oh, I thought I was going to sneak that from him. That's bad. Yeah, I mean, so many people out there that need help that just can't get it. And it's not even through their own fault. It's not like they're the ones who are not looking for help. It just is that it's not available. Yeah, exactly. But again, I think that's part and parcel of the value we place upon work and capitalism rather than what we place upon human beings, which is baffling because human beings are the beginning and end of that chain, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you're going to be going through the whole, you know, someone's parent died and you're responsible sort of thing. Can you imagine that? Even if you tried your absolute best and there was nothing you could do to help. Damn it. Cock that up. But like, on a more positive note, I've been watching the Olympics recently, and a 13-year-old girl won gold in skateboarding, which I think is the most fantastic thing I've heard recently, because that's going to bring so many more women into the sport, and I hope to God she gets her own game series, Tony Hawk style, because that would be just awesome in my eyes. I was not born to pay bills, but I am born to suffer. Bad. Way too early. Oh, so there is, I think there's too much speed on this map. Oh yeah, I remember it's all down to this one corner. Yeah. Yes, but again, I'd argue simply getting gold is incredible, regardless of age, regardless of gender. That's something that no matter what you do in life, you can absolutely be proud of. Yes and no. I think if she wanted to go in a different direction, although I don't believe she does from the way she spoke about skateboarding, but let's say she does, she now has some incredible backing and a following that would allow it. Because like whether you're a fan or just enjoy the fact that she won gold, you know her name. If she applies for a job where you work, you're going to be like, hell yeah. And you would ask your boss to say yes. Sniped it from him, boom. Because like, it's one of those things, having a name, being known, can be incredibly useful, but at the same time, she's only 13, like, really hope her parents manage it well. Because it'd be such a shame to lose a talent like that. Because her parents didn't bother keeping her, looking after her properly. But then again, it'd be a shame to lose any child to that sort of a lifestyle. Not just her. Yeah, this map is god awful. It's not god awful, I'm just terrible with the boosts. Yup. But I sincerely wish her all the luck in the future, and I really do hope she gets her own game series. And if not a game series, at least a sponsorship from Tony Hawk or someone who's high up in that world. Because getting as a 13-year-old child, having someone who's been in that world, who knows what it's like. Oh, absolutely. Again, that's why I'm talking about sponsorships and stuff, and having someone who's already in that world, and not just in it, but securely in it. Because that would show her the way, and hopefully keep her parents on the straight and narrow. I hate doing drifts in these with a bloody boost. Just no grip. Ay ay ay. Cut that up. And cut that up. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for being a child prodigy. What was it? I hope you have seen Malcolm in the Middle, because Malcolm, his family did well. He now races and stuff, and he lives his life exactly the way he wants to, which is exactly what you kind of want for anyone who was famous as a child, for them to be able to spend their adult years being what they want to be. See, even a small brake tap just sends you fucking flying. You have to just drift it on instinct. And ended up on the snow. Yeah, I always think of Macaulay Culkin, even though he's not poor. But when I think of poor and famous, I do think of him. Lindsay Lohan comes to mind as well nowadays, but you know, Macaulay Culkin kind of turned it around. He became a bit of a pop icon again. Oh god, I let go of it. Shouldn't have done. Oh, that's it, that's it, that's it. Oof. Oh look, we're already fifth. Halfway to Gen Z already. I mean, yeah, being poor and famous would suck, but there are plenty of worse options out there. Just being poor is a major one. Although, yeah, if I ever make money off this, I won't be the money won't be going to me. I have no use for it. Not that I'm rich, I just don't care. Got taste. Yeah, it's the same with Britney Spears, but I really blame that on the American legal system, not on the individual artists themselves. I hope I said that the right way around. Yeah, I don't blame Britney, I don't blame Taylor. In fact, I pity them both. But I blame the American legal system for allowing these things to happen, to come to pass. But as I've said before, I don't see much difference between being a coal miner and being a prostitute. You're both selling your body, so, you know, why can't the laws that protect one protect the other? At least that's my viewpoint. I assume people disagree, but that's how I feel about it. Oh, could have got that more. Do you know what would be really nice? If I could get the start on it. Just imagine, eh? Yeesh. I mean, that's a step in the right direction, but it's still not where you want to be. A legalised, taxed, and safe and secure would be best, and especially on parts of the ladies and gentlemen who do sell themselves to the night, because at least you could organise testing, prevent the spread of diseases, you know, provide more benefit for society than it would cost. But I'm just a simple melon farmer. What do I know? I can't get this beginning right no matter what I'm trying here. Yes, they do in Australia, relatively. It's much better. It's like Amsterdam as well. Theirs is quite good. In fact, it's so good that you don't tend to associate Amsterdam with it. Because if you can have a society that works alongside all of its sectors, you really reduce the crime rate. Because people are going to do it no matter what. This is way slow. Because whether it's the drug trade, prostitution, if people want it, they will resort to any means necessary to get it. And the harder you make it, it just means the more profit goes into the hands of criminals. And not even the I robbed your bike kind of criminals, the I shot your family because you owed me 10 grand kind of criminals. I don't think I can catch, because this is a bad run. Way, I got the start right for once, and now I'm going to hit the wall. Way too slow. Some sort of speed boost by having my tyres touch that wall. Fantastic. Still leaves me a little bit behind, but it certainly ain't over yet. If I can hold this drift. Yeah, there we go. We got the speed. But not the angle for that. Don't know what I'm doing there. I had to release a bit there to get that line up better, but we do have the speed necessary. Not anymore. Yes, that's a very good way to put it. I would probably word it more along the lines of, as long as it provides a benefit to humanity. I say benefit, that's probably not right. Okay, I'll think on that. But the concept I enjoy. That's good. We'll make a politician of you yet, Callista. We'll have you run in Canada in a year. Oh, I lost grip. Without causing harm to the society within which it is sold. No. Without causing harm to the global society. No. Without causing individual harm. Which is kind of what you said, but slightly worded differently. Without causing individual harm to anyone. Because that would close up loopholes of it causing harm to someone in a different country or whatever. To beat the crooks, you got to think like the crooks. Or what's the more apt one? To catch a criminal, you got to think like a criminal. That's more apt. Wow, this is a run and a half. If I don't lose it, which I just did. God damn. Still PB'd. Man, that would have been up there at number 1. Oh well. I only wanted to push it up a little bit. Callista for PM of Canada. Christ. Ah, that went sideways quick. And now I can't keep up. Or I can. I can overtake. Incredible. Yes, but I think the concept of relationships as we think of them is a bit of a joke. And it's the same with marriage in my eyes. And I don't mean this in a horrible way. Yes, this is what I mean. So, marriage is null and void as a concept, right, in my eyes, simply because marriage initially existed so we could manage population and responsibility. Like, if you think of it purely on those scales, marriage has no more meaning in the real world anymore because we have other ways to manage responsibility. We have other ways to ensure people care for their children, or, however you wish to word it. So marriage is no longer a realistically useful entity. And it's the same with the concept of a. See, I don't know the words for this because it's not something that I'm very interested in, but I'm going to attempt it. It's the same for what you'd call a standard binary relationship, as far as I understand it. Whether it's man, woman, man, man, whatever. But the concept is a joke, because if you have three people that want to be together in one relationship, they're going to be better off looking after the children because there's three people to split that time. Right, so a poly relationship is technically better off than what a standard binary relationship is. That doesn't mean we should all go straight for the poly relationships or do any of that sort of stuff. It's just simply the logic behind it. Now, a modern relationship, you shouldn't even really bother with the word relationship because it entails that there is some sort of, how would you word it, some sort of ownership going on. There is some sort of coercive force keeping it together, right? Because of how the word relationship exists in our language, I suppose. But it doesn't need that. It doesn't need any of it. It's just these people are their thing. These people are their family. These people are a family. That's all it really is. The people you choose to spend your life with are your family, regardless of how you shape it, phrase it, or whatever. But yes, it's definitely something society lacks behind. And as one of the early compilers of the Quran said, do not raise your children as you were raised, because they are born for a different time. There are some gems in the Quran. This was a bit wobbly, but we might actually storm this home. We did. Third place overall, not bad. Still wasn't all the time though, but it'd do. Alright. Oh, let's get the 9s then. Left. Almost screwed that up from the get-go. Oh, this is quite a good one. Wow. Top 5 just like that. Alright. Well, that was a bad run, so I'm going to attempt a better one. Yes, but I would argue having a child is the contract. Because if you're not willing to take responsibility of your child, that's kind of it, isn't it? But I guess that's more of a social contract than what it is a binding contract of any description. But even so, we tend to take the concept of child care quite seriously, which is good. Although I definitely have words with how things like foster care and stuff are managed. And childcare as well. But that's me. Wolfie come through there quick. He's got more speed, I guess. Yeah. Had to really adjust that, but I've got more speed, just not the angle. Oh, why am I doing that? Better, third. Still think I can improve that. I'm missing a whole second, there's way loads to improve. Or I just don't get any grip and we start off super slow. Would certainly say, yeah, childcare. There would be a better way of doing it, I'm sure of it. Yes, I agree with you, but then we're going to go down the route of... We're going to go down a different route here, right? Because I like to be devil's advocate for everything, and that's what I'm about to do here. Right, so I assume you're female, Callista, but let's have you be a man for a second, regardless. So, you're a man. You have a one-night stand with a woman. You're both drunk, you didn't use protection, she ends up getting pregnant. You do not want the child. She wants to keep it. Regardless of what you now do, you are responsible for this child, even if you didn't want it. Should you still pay child support? That's my question to you. It's an interesting question, no? Because legally speaking, you're on the hook no matter what. Regardless of what the girl chooses, of what you would choose, you are now going to be a father and you have no choice over it. Right, so if you're financially capable, yes. If not, no. Okay. That's an interesting concept in itself, but I want you to really examine it from that side as well. So now let's say, same situation, but as the man you want to keep the baby, she doesn't. She terminates it. Is that fair to you? Is that situation fair in comparison to the previous situation? Why does this gentleman have no say, yes or no, about this child? Considering he's a 50% creator in this business, he has no say. He has no choice. Is this fair? Neither situation is fair to you as a man, no. Now, isn't that interesting? As a man, you have no choice. I'm only pointing this out simply because it's something that rarely ever comes up as a topic of conversation, because we all tend to accept that, it's your child, pay child support, get used to it. But we don't actually examine the situation that caused this to be. Because it's certainly not either party's fault that she's pregnant with the baby, or pregnant with the fetus, however you wish to word it. It's neither party's fault that this has occurred, really, because it happens to the best of us. We make mistakes. But at the same time, the woman has the choice, the man has no choice whatsoever. For him, it's whatever she decides. And that's, in my eyes, not equality, so it's not good. But it's just something, yes, exactly. And this poor guy has no choice, say, option in this matter. He can't appeal to anyone, he can't ask for help, he can't really do anything because no one cares. And that's just as messed up as being a woman who's pregnant and no one's willing to help. Both sides of the coin are horrible if you're completely honest about it. But why, legally speaking, as a man, do you have no choice? And that is where I fight for feminism. I don't fight for the kind of modern era of feminism, but I fight for feminism of the old school. Yes, it should, but again, he has no real power or say in the situation. It's whatever the woman decides. But as I was saying, I'm a believer in the old school of feminism. It's equality between us, and I believe that down to my core. Even to a point of where people have disagreed with me quite strongly on this, but if a woman is to hit me, I will return with appropriate force to ensure that I'm not hit again. Just as I would if it was a bloke. Because there is no difference between us. Apart from biological ones, but biological ones don't affect your ability to be cognizant. But as for being, yes, exactly, and that's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Because it's not necessary to have a paternity test in order to gain child support, which is insane. Because if I was to ask to, let's say it was me in this situation and I was paying child support for a child, and I said, hey, I want to look after this child full time, I don't just want to be a paycheck I would have to go to court, I would have to prove the child was mine, and then I'd have to prove that I was better than the mother. And what kind of logic is that? Why am I proving I am better than? I can't be equal to, I have to be better to care for my child. Yeah, like that. There is no, as a man, you have very little power over custody, a very little power over anything to do with what supposedly is your child. Now, this isn't true across the world. This is rather specific to Western nations. But it does baffle me. It's a bit like the amount of times when I was working in my last job, I was called privileged and, you're a white male, you have no idea what struggle is. Like, I grew up poor. I grew up very poor. I know what struggle is. I didn't get anywhere in life because I was white. No one helped me. I did it all myself. I will admit I probably didn't experience racism on the level that other people did, but I definitely experienced classism. I was treated very differently because I grew up poor. I don't take away from anyone else what they went through, because I'm sure you were treated differently because of X, Y, and Z. But when people complain about white people privilege and all that stuff, you're actually aiming at the wrong group of people. You need to be aiming up, not down, because everyone at your level is right there with you. They'll call it a different name, whether you call it race, gender, class, whatever, they will call it a different name, but it's all the same. You shouldn't be aiming down, you should be aiming up. See, absolutely. Community care is the key. One of my big, big kind of aggravations in the regions of childcare is the fact we do not use the elderly population. Yes, is that we do not use the elderly population to assist. So you need childcare. There is an entire generation of people sat around doing nothing but waiting for visits from their family and stuff like that. Take some children to them. They will care for them, they will dote over them, they will probably make them cakes and make those children happier than they've been in weeks. Not to mention the cognitive decline you're going to slow. Not to mention the fact that they're going to get exercise from chasing the kids and playing with the kids. Not to mention the fact that this now saves money for the working classes, so they don't have to pay for childcare. And to top it all off, it's free. It's such a simple solution to a problem that exists, but no one has addressed it. And I mean, it's a shame I'm not a politician, but I'd probably get thrown out pretty quick. My views tend to be quite controversial on many subjects. I need to figure this out, this map. Yeah, going backwards ain't going to be the key now. Oh, Christ. Wall. You need to be wide, but at the same time not too wide here. Well, let's just try driving normally. See if I can keep the speed. Not there. Ah, that wall. Alright. I lost it by touching the wall. Alright, now speaking of caring for people, I'm going to be going offline for probably around an hour and I'll be back because I'm going to go cook some dinner for me mum. Alright. See you later, Calista. Peace.